Welcome back once again to Behind the News. I'm Robyn Brady. As always, lots to talk about in Chatham-Kent. We're going to start with some news making the headlines this week. Victor Boutin back in the spotlight, the Toronto area developer. He was in downtown Chatham talking about a parking lot he's going to be building. Bought some land between 4th and 5th on Wellington Street in downtown Chatham. The parking lot itself is going to have 177 spaces, 100 of which will be for public use. The rest, he's working in partnership with Dan Warner, who's also bought some property there and will be building a parking lot for to be used by the Chatham Daily News, as well as some of the spots being reserved for Boutin's condo development. With that, Boutin also taking back some of the comments he made a couple of weeks ago, where he said that he would pull his investments from Chatham-Kent if Randy Hope wasn't re-elected. He's now saying that perhaps his wording was a little strong. He will not pull his investments. He says he's got too much put into Chatham-Kent now to back away, so he's going to potentially put things on hold once there is a new council and perhaps a new mayor as well. He will look into that and have some discussions with them once the election is over. Let's see, also we've had a couple of fundraisers going on this week. The Farm Credit Canada Drive Away Hunger Tour hitting local schools, and it's an annual event. They came back this year once again, and so far have raised 5,200 pounds of food, and this they had to actually extend the drive for a couple of days. It was normally just a one-day swing through, and they've had so many people calling up and wanting to give to the local food bank, so they had to stay for a couple extra days, which is really great news there. Also, the United Way had its Harvest Classic dinner taking place on Thursday night at the Armory in Chatham. They had about 280 people turn out for that, and between ticket sales and the auction they held, they raised about $30,000 for the United Way. So great work there, and congratulations to Bill Weaver and Stacey DeVolder, the co-chairs of the United Way campaign this year, on a great start to their campaign. The election is, of course, the biggest story going on around Chatham-Kent right now. There have been some advance polls going on the last couple of days, and as well last weekend they had the shop and vote at the Downtown Chatham Centre. About 500 people turning out for that, so lots of people getting their votes in so far. Hopefully more people will come out on October 25th and get their votes in. This is pretty big stuff, and hopefully people understand that and realize that if you don't vote, you can't complain later. So please make sure you cast your ballot on October 25th. With the election, there's a lot that goes on behind the snes of getting election coverage together. So our news director is in town today. We're going to have a little chat with Bob Becken. So Bob, tell me what it is that we do with an election. There's a lot of stuff to go over.
There is. There's a lot of coordination. I myself kind of overseeing things in Chatham, and then we obviously have the branch in Leamington, and we have the operation in Windsor as well. So you're dealing with 6 radio stations, all providing some content on some level. CFCO here in Chatham, that's the most robust, I guess. You're talking about wall-to-wall coverage. We're going to be going from 8 as soon as the polls close. You and Simon are going to jump on the air and do wall-to-wall coverage, bringing reporters on. So it's a matter of just kind of thinking what the big story is going to be and where we put our resources heading into this election. I think it's safe to say that for the mayor's position, it's probably going to be a 2, maybe a 3 horse race. No sled against the other candidates, but obviously incumbent Randy Hope, Councillor Tom McGregor vying for the seat, and Ian McClarty, who has shown well in some of the debates that I've listened to. And just from some of the support, a lot of the signage up in the community, I'm noticing that. So we're going to try to staff accordingly. Mm-hmm. And it's a similar situation down in Windsor. The big race is going to be Mayor Eddie Francis against Rick Limoges, who's a former MP, very union-based against non-union-based. We're going to try to tell that story throughout the evening. Going to have 2 reporters based out of a central gathering place down in Windsor, filing reports. Then we're going to have a reporter in LaSalle, in Amherstburg, in Lakeshore, in not one in Tecumseh because their mayor's acclaimed, McNamara, and just all over the map. We'll have somebody covering Kingsville and Leamington, someone in Essex. Again, down here in Chatham-Kent, it's a lot easier because you're dealing with one municipality, not individual towns like it was before amalgamation. So that makes our job, my job, a lot easier. You're going to be talking, again, we're going to staff somebody with McGregor, maybe somebody with McClarty, somebody with Randy, and then we're going to have two people, Cheryl Johnstone from CFCO and reporter Trevor Thompson at City Hall, at the Civic Center, filing reports. So it's going to be a matter of you guys talking to them, some back and forth there, because we found in the past that a lot of people, a lot of candidates will kind of gather there. That they show the numbers there up on the big screen. You tend to get a lot of quote-unquote newsmakers to show up. So from our standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, that's pretty good, because you're going to get a lot of different voices on the air. And that's really what people generally want to hear.
Right. Now, as far as the campaign itself, because there are always a lot of debates going on and candidates hosting their own little private parties and support rallies, I suppose. It's a tough thing to cover when you have a relatively small newsroom.
It is. So again, you have to kind of just nail down what you think the big story is, what would affect the most people, and when you're talking about that, you're going outside a ward per se, and you're talking about the municipality on the whole in Chatham-Kent's case. So the mayor's position is obviously the big one. We'll get a lot of people over the phone. If an incumbent is ousted, that's a big story. If every incumbent was re-elected, that's really not as big of a deal. I think really the only one who isn't running, correct me if I'm wrong, is Bill Weaver, I believe. Larry Mansfield Robbins as well. Okay, so you could, for the most part, see a relatively similar team around the table at City Hall. There has been upsets in the past, and I mean, no slight against them, but I'd like to see an upset or two, because it just makes it that much more interesting from a news perspective. So.
Now, as far as election night and for CKSY listeners, what can we be looking forward to?
For CKSY, you can look forward to top and bottom of the hour reports at 8 o'clock, some reporter files in there as well, and then once things really get going, once the numbers start to heat up, we start to see some trends happening. Maybe that mayoral race has been weighed down to two people, and it's really focusing in, and you're starting to see things develop that way. Then CKSY will also be picking up CFCO's feed, which overall is just the Blackburn Radio News team making use of those resources. So CKSY, come the end, come when things really get down to the wire and things get exciting, you're basically going to be having the same type of coverage that we're having on CFCO.
Okay, great. So definitely exciting times.
It is. It's and you can attest to this. We've done a lot of elections, whether it be municipal, provincial, or federal, over the past 5, 6, 7 years, and they're a lot of fun, a lot of organizing. But once it's over, it's just kind of okay, deep breath, and then let's tell the 15,000 reactionary stories that come out of it.
Right, great. Okay, so October 25th, make sure you get out there and vote. That's all for now on Behind the News.